What exactly is the Fulbright Scholarship? Well, according to the US Department of State, as well as the Fulbright Commission, it is the flagship cultural and educational exchange program of the United States government. It's meant to foster mutual understanding between the people of the United States and the rest of the world, as well as support friendly and peaceful relations between countries. The scholarship program was created through legislation introduced by its namesake, Senator William Fulbright, in the aftermath of the Second World War. He advocated for the profits from the sale of US war properties be used to fund international educational exchange programs. And for over 75 years, the Fulbright program has done exactly that. The Fulbright Scholarship Program can be broken down into subdivisions. There's the Fulbright US program, which allows US citizens the opportunity to study and conduct research at institutions in host countries all around the world. Then there's the Fulbright Teaching Program, which allows US educators the opportunity to teach abroad and international educators the opportunity to teach in the United States. And then, of course, there's the program that I'm a part of, the Fulbright Foreign Student Program, which allows international students the opportunity to study and conduct research at the graduate level at participating universities all over the United States. There are several other programs under the Fulbright Commission. So if you're interested, my advice is to reach out to your local Fulbright office or US Embassy to learn more. For this video, I'll be speaking from the perspective of a Fulbrighter from Barbados and the Eastern Caribbean. So, you want to be a Fulbright scholar? Well, first things first is checking your eligibility. Do you qualify to be a Fulbright scholar? The US Embassy in Bridgetown, Barbados outlines the eligibility requirements for the country as well as the rest of the Eastern Caribbean. To be eligible for a Fulbright, applicants must be desirous of pursuing graduate studies at accredited universities in the United States. Hold a bachelor's degree with first class or upper second class honors. Must be a citizen and resident of any of the Eastern Caribbean islands: Antigua and Barbuda, Barbados, Dominica, Grenada, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Lucia, or St. Vincent and the Grenadines. You cannot be a green card holder or currently residing in the United States. You must not currently be enrolled at or pursuing studies at a US university. Scholarship recipients must return home to the Eastern Caribbean upon completion of their studies. Fulbright graduates are subject to the 2-year home country foreign residency requirement. This rule mandates that upon graduating, Fulbright scholars must return home. Scholars within the 2-year period are not prohibited from traveling to the United States for leisure, but may be ineligible for certain family-based or employment-based visas until the foreign residency requirement is satisfied. Applicants are required to take the GRE, the Graduate Records Examination, or the GMAT, the Graduate Management Admissions Test, based on your intended field of study. Now, there's no age requirement for a Fulbright scholarship, so it's perfect for mid-career professionals, as well as young academics like myself who are looking to gain global experiences and to broaden their understanding. So, if you've met all these requirements, then great, you're eligible to apply for a Fulbright scholarship. Which brings us to the next part of the process, the application. To apply for a Fulbright scholarship, visit the webpage of the US Embassy or call the embassy's public affairs section for a direct link. There, you'll be given access to the application page. The application is completely online and you don't have to fill out everything all at once. You can take your time, gather your information, enter it, save, and come back again later. It's also really easy to follow, so no worries there. For Barbados and the Eastern Caribbean, applications usually open on April 1st for the following year's cycle. So for example, I applied in 2022 and I'm a 2023 Fulbright scholar. Alright, now let's break down the application. The application can be separated into 4 distinct parts. general information and personal history, the essays, the recommendation, and the testing. General information and personal history is exactly what it sounds like. Your name, your date of birth, your citizenship and residency, your academic and professional history, your study plan for graduate school, and your supporting documents like your transcripts and your passport. This is really easy to knock out in an hour or so if you already have the information to hand. The rest of the application, however, is much more substantial. The Fulbright application requires you to submit 2 essays, a personal statement and a study objective. The purpose of this is to give the selection committee a clearer idea of who you are as an individual from both a personal and academic perspective. My advice for this part of the application is 1, keep it concise. The selection panel is going to go through several applications, so make sure that yours sticks out without rambling on. No more than 2 pages, in my opinion. Forget the technical jargon. Most likely, the persons reading your essays will not be experts in your professional or academic field, so there's no need to prove how proficient you are by using technical slang. 3, tell your story, don't sell your story. You are a living, breathing person with a story to tell, not a product which the selection committee needs convincing to buy. So if you find yourself inflating details of your story to make it more captivating, chances are the selection committee will recognize that as well. Just tell your story and be yourself. That will be enough, trust me. And 4, relate your desires to Fulbright. How will this scholarship help you to achieve your personal and professional goals? How will you use this scholarship to help others, particularly your fellow countrymen? Yes, the Fulbright is a wonderful experience, don't get me wrong, but it's also a means to an end for you as an individual. So, what is that end for you? If you guys are interested, I plan on making a video about the essays that got me my Fulbright scholarship, just as a guide so you can kind of get a better idea of what the selection panel may be looking for. The next part of the application, funny enough, is a part that you'll never see, the recommendations. Now, Fulbright for Barbados and the Eastern Caribbean requires 3 written recommendations to be submitted independently on your behalf for consideration of the award. The general rule of thumb is that 2 of these recommendations should come from persons who know you in an academic capacity and who can speak to your readiness to pursue graduate studies in the United States. For me, I asked 2 of my international relations lecturers from UWI Mona, one of whom is a Chevening Scholarship alumna and one of whom is a Fulbright Scholarship alumnus. The final recommendation should come from someone who knows you in a professional capacity and who can vouch for your ability to represent the country as a citizen ambassador. My professional recommendation came from a direct supervisor from an internship which I pursued in my last year of undergraduate studies. I chose persons who I felt best knew me in these fields and who would best reflect my character. They knew my work ethic as well as my professional and academic goals. I chose persons who would go to bat for me. My advice is to do the same. Now, since your recommendations are submitted independently of your application, you will never see what is submitted on your behalf. I still have no idea what my recommendations said, and they came from persons who I consider to be my mentors. Your recommendation will quite literally make or break your application. So, choose wisely. Now, the final part of the application is the testing. Any international student who wants to study in the United States without having done undergrad in the US or Canada is required to take the GRE or the GMAT. Now, I can't speak to the GMAT because I didn't take it, but the GRE is an analytical reasoning test with 6 sections, 2 vocabulary, 2 mathematics, and 2 written analysis sections. It can be taken online with proctoring software, or it can be administered in person at a local testing site. However, the online approach seems to be the more preferred method, especially since the pandemic. Now, the GRE is not an overly difficult examination, but it is tedious, lasting around 3 hours and 45 minutes, give or take. You should know that the GRE is not an indication of intelligence, but rather just readiness for graduate school in the US. It can be taken multiple times and only your best test score will be considered. Now, it will require you to study and take practice exams. In my opinion, it's not a test that anybody can just ease through without understanding its structure and its timing. But once you put in the work, you should be fine. Now, there is a cost associated with testing. I'm not sure what it is for the GMAT, but for the GRE, it's around 220 US. If you need help, reach out to your local Fulbright office or US embassy because there may be resources available to help you meet these testing costs. Now, if you got through all of that, congrats! You just finished your Fulbright application. Remember to take notice of the application deadline, usually around July 1st, and remember to proofread your entry before final submission. Okay, so what happens next? Well, nothing for a while. Like I said, the Fulbright Commission receives several applications every cycle, so it's going to take a while for them to review each one and decide who moves on to the next stage. Personally, I didn't hear anything until late August 2022 that my application had been shortlisted. If you don't end up moving on to the next stage, it can be frustrating, I get it. But don't let that stop you from applying again next year. Many applicants don't get it on the first go around, and that's okay. If you have been shortlisted, congrats, but you're not home free yet. Next up is the interview process. This helps the selection committee to put a face to your application, and it gives you an opportunity to speak directly to your scholarship aspirations. My advice for this section is similar to the essays. Just be yourself and tell your story. Also, make sure you engage with the interviewers and ask them questions. If you do all of that, and hey, I'm not guaranteeing anything, but you just may have a pretty good shot at being nominated for a Fulbright Scholarship.